Sleep paralysis is usually explained by science, a misfire between the brain and the body, a dream state that lingers too long. But for those who have experienced it, sleep paralysis is real. It doesn't just feel like a simple glitch. You wake up, you can see your room, you know that you're awake, and yet you can't move. Science has a name for this moment, but science doesn't fully explain what happens next. Because in that frozen state, many people don't just feel trapped, they feel watched. They see figures in the corner of the room, they see figures on top of them, in the doorways, in the shadows. They can see something entering the room that shouldn't be entering at all. So the question isn't just what sleep paralysis is, it's whether it's only science or something else. Let's start with what science does understand. Sleep paralysis happens when your brain wakes up before your body does. During REM sleep, your muscles temporarily shut down so you don't physically act out your dreams. Normally, this paralysis fades before you wake up, but sometimes, consciousness returns first. Your mind is alert, your eyes are open, your surroundings feel real, and your body, it's just completely frozen. In this state, the brain is still partially dreaming. The systems responsible for imagination, fear, and pattern recognition remain active. This explains why hallucinations can occur, but it doesn't explain why the hallucinations are so consistent. Because if this were just a random dream, imagery leaking into reality, we'd expect chaos. Instead, we get patterns. Across cultures, centuries, people tend to see the same things. Not similar, not inspired by movies, the same. The Shadow Man, a tall human-shaped silhouette, often standing silently in the doorway or corner. The Old Hag, a withered figure sitting on the chest, crushing the breath from the lungs. The Intruder, something moving through the room with intent, sometimes crawling, sometimes gliding. The Demon, distorted faces, glowing eyes, and whispering voices. And then there's the Hat Man, a shadow figure wearing a wide-brimmed hat watching from a distance. These figures appear in reports from people who've never spoken to each other, from different religions, from different languages, different eras, different countries. Hallucinations shouldn't organize themselves this neatly, and that's where things stop being so simple. So let's explore the explanation science is less comfortable with. If these figures aren't just internal hallucinations, what could they be? In many occult traditions, there are beings said to exist between worlds, entities that occupy the space between walking and dreaming. Folklore across the world describes shadow-like beings. In Arabic traditions, the jinn entities made of smokeless fire. In Irish folklore, the Sita, sometimes appearing as dark silhouettes. In ancient Mesoamerican belief, the Tzitzimime, beings associated with night and fear. In the Egyptians, they have the Kabit, the shadow aspect of the soul. These are all different names, but they all take the same form. Catholic tradition takes a different view, describing these experiences as demonic, oppression, and not possession, entities that target moments of vulnerability. In some indigenous traditions, sleep paralysis is not seen as a bad thing, but as an awakening, an initiation to a higher state of consciousness, which are able to perceive things beyond the physical world. All these systems explain the same thing in different ways, potentially leading to sleep being the doorway. And modern science actually kind of supports the idea. During sleep paralysis, the brain enters a rare state, part awake, part awakened. The fear center is highly active, the sense of presence is amplified, and the body's normal connection to physical sensations is weakened. This state closely resembles the onset of lucid dreaming and even out-of-body experiences. In other words, consciousness becomes unanchored. Some researchers suggest that what people see during sleep paralysis could be subconscious projections. Others, though, suggest something a little bit more unsettling, that the brain in this state may be perceiving information it normally filters out. This leads to a hybrid explanation. Some experiences may be internal, some may be external, and some may be both at the same time. There are details that refuse to line up cleanly with pure neurological explanation. Many people sense a presence before they see it. They hear footsteps, breathing, movement. Some describe changes in air pressure, in temperature, in sound. Others report that the figures react to light fading, retreating, or disappearing entirely when the lamp turns on. In rare cases, there are shared experiences. Two people seeing the same figure in the same room, children describing the same entities their parents once saw when they were children, without ever being told about them. These moments are rare, but they do exist, and they complicate the idea that this is all happening inside one isolated mind. So what is sleep paralysis really? A neurological malfunction? A psychological projection? A spiritual encounter? Or something that exists between all three? The most honest answer may be that sleep paralysis is a collision point where the dreaming mind, the waking body, and whatever lies beyond perception briefly overlap. In that moment, the rules change, and whether what you see comes from inside of you or from somewhere else entirely, one thing is clear. You are not alone in seeing it. If you've experienced sleep paralysis and you've seen something you can't explain, you're not the only one. And if you want deeper dives into shadow figures, the Hat Man, or the connection between sleep paralysis and the out-of-body experience, let me know. Because the more of these stories are shared, the clearer the patterns become.